You look at 5 years out, it's supposed to be 20 million vacation rentals globally. If we get 20% of those 20 million, that's 4 million listings on our site for free. That's twice the size that Vrbo is today, and that's half the size that Airbnb is today. I think we can get there.
Hey, Eric, thanks so much for joining us today at Wall Street Unplugged.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I always love having industry veterans here. I mean, when I've been doing it in the markets for 30 years, you've been a veteran of a certain industry, which is online travel. It's one thing to say that you've been part of that industry for 30 years. It's another thing to say you started one company and you sold it, and then you started another company and did it again. And now you're looking to do something with another company. Before we get to that part, give us a little bit of your background. How did you get into this industry and why you love it so much? Because it's not easy dealing with people sometimes.
My wife and I, we've been married 35 years now, and out of college, which is where we met, we would actually go stay in bed and breakfast, like legit bed and breakfast, not Airbnbs. This is back when there were guidebooks. So you literally had to read the entire guidebook to find the one that matched your price range and had the hot tub and had the view or whatever you were looking for. And then by the time you called them, they were out of business because the book has been published for 3 years and the research was 2 years before that. Or they were full, right? So this was sort of pre-internet. This is like 93. And so I had the idea of creating the most comprehensive database of bed and breakfast that existed in the world and license it. You probably remember this, Frank, to, at the time, the proprietary networks. We're talking MSN, Prodigy, CompuServe, AOL, all those guys. And by the time I sort of built this database, and we literally mailed out paper forms, and innkeepers would fill out these 4-page forms, send us physical photos that we had to scan. We had to do all the data entry. So we built this database, and when we were getting ready to go out to market, we had MSN was our first that wanted to sign an agreement with us. This internet thing was turning out to be like the next thing, sort of like where we are, today, maybe with AI. And I just decided, okay, we're going to go internet, launched bedandbreakfast.com, and over the next, sold it once and ran it for that company for a bit, bought it back because that company didn't end up making it. They were trying to do what was HRN at the time, Hotel Reservation Network, became hotels.com. They were trying to repeat that model, weren't successful, bought it back, and then ultimately sold it in 2010. But I like creating companies that bring people together to create memories with friends and family, loved ones, etc. And I've been fortunate to find that passion early and surround myself with the right people and be able to have some success and hopefully get a 3-peat year.
I see this a lot with entrepreneurs and even friends. I have a friend that sold vitamin water and then it's body armor. He sold it's a good question. It's not bad if you say, well, is it greed? Do you see it disconnected in the market? You could retire after those two, acquisitions pretty easily. But, what makes you jump back into the market? Is it that spirit where I see there's something broken in the market that, you could fix? Or is it just like more than that? I'm curious.
For most entrepreneurs, it's just where you find your energy, right? It's seeing an opportunity and solving the most complex Rubik's Cube there is out there, which is finding a market, finding a product market fit, assembling a team that can actually deliver that, raising the money, listening to your customers and meeting a need and actually bringing a solution that provides value to everyone ultimately is, I think, the biggest reward. Sure, there's financial reward if you're successful, but you get to a point where it's like, okay, this next company, is it going to change your lifestyle or not? And a lot of times the answer is no, but you're just doing it because that's what you do. You're an entrepreneur and you like creating stuff.
Now, I'm going to give you a lot of credit because this is a competitive industry. I mean, everyone knows if it's Expedia, TripAdvisor, you can go on and on. You go Booking.com, Airbnb. When you did this too, you did this early when it was bedandbreakfast.com to the point where they're called hyperscalers now, but those companies were also looking to get into this industry and you created, I guess, great companies that they would purchase, right? And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's a lot of competition now. It seems like there's so many of these companies. What are you looking to disrupt? What's wrong with this industry right now? I can tell you my concerns in terms of using Airbnb.
You want to go first?
Airbnb, I'll go first. The Airbnb's fees are crazy, right? VRBO fees are crazy right now. And it used to be a great service, but, I go to Saratoga, racetrack, go to opening day with my friends every year that I grew up with, right? 30, 40 years ago. And, so I go back to New York and we do Airbnb all the time. And this time I was like, whoa, it was like double the fees. I look at Expedia. I've been using Expedia. Now Expedia, I don't know if they have AI controls, but they know my habits, and I usually book late because I'm busy. I travel a ton, and I'm booking late. And the charges that I have on my account, and I'm whatever member it is, I've spent literally over $100,000 because I've traveled and I've used them for such a long time, over 10, 15 years. Now, I actually signed off one time because one of the flights was so much money. I signed back on as I don't have an account there, and it was literally 40% cheaper, and that really pissed me off. So I see what's broken in the industry, but what do you see now? Because there is a lot of competition in it, but also it seems like these guys are doing anything they can for profits to keep, they're publicly traded companies. They have to continue to grow like every Wall Street company. You got to grow every quarter. Is that what's going on right now in the industry, and how do you see it's broken, how you could fix it?
There's a lot to unpack there, but ultimately, yes. I mean, I can't say this with actual data, but I've heard, and I think I've seen the same thing happen on Amazon, right? I went to buy a 6-pack of the coffee beans that we get, and they went from like $60 to $80. And I was like, what the heck happened to the price of the coffee beans? I literally had read something about this, logged out of my account, searched it, not logged in, and got my original price back. And it's like, okay, they find what you want and they yield it to the specific customer, which in a way is brilliant, but it's costly. It can make money. What's broken? I mean, when you look at vacation rentals, they're supposed to be a place that you go to decompress, to go have fun with friends and family, to create great memories. And they, for a bit, were sort of a less expensive way to travel, right? Now with the fees that you've seen come in, Airbnb, Vrbo, and even I think overall overarching fees in general, people are just sick of fees, whether it's Ticketmaster, it's StubHub, it's Airbnb, it's Vrbo, it's resort fees. I had a freaking fee to take out some Tex-Mex a month ago. I was getting takeout and they were charging me to do takeout. And I'm like, wait, I'm allowing you to make more money than your restaurant can hold. I'm not taking any of your space, no dishes to wash, no nothing. Then you want to charge me more to take out. So, I mean, I think it's certainly a share of wallet grab that you're seeing by companies, as you said, that have to show a profit, an increasing profit. I mean, there just comes a point that as a consumer, you're like, okay, I've had enough. That happened to me when I was taking my family to Seaside, Florida, coast of Florida. And we were booking a place that was 4 nights, $400. I thought it was going to be, $1,600 plus some, cleaning fees, tax, maybe $2,000, $2,750. Wow. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? Yeah. So seeing that as on the traveler side of the marketplace, and then understanding the supply side, I own a co-own a 20 key inn just outside of Austin. I own a vacation rental. I've had it for 12 years. And I co-founded a company called Turnkey Vacation Rentals. So I've been in the space enough to see from the supply side that the supply is getting squeezed and the traveler's getting squeezed. And there's just too much money being taken out of the equation that is shorting the mom and pop property manager that, lives in Vail, Colorado, or wherever, Paransas, Texas, shorting the homeowner because more of their profits go into this platform. Now they're creating an audience and demand, a marketplace, so they should get paid something, but it seems egregious. And ultimately it all gets passed on to the traveler, because if a property manager has an 8% distribution cost in a channel, well, they just raise their rates oftentimes by 8%. So the traveler's paying 8% more on the nightly rate, plus the 15% fee or 13% fee that they're getting charged by the platform. So ultimately it's 15 to 20, maybe a little more percent that is not going to someone having a better trip, right? With that money, the traveler could upgrade their stay, right? If they're in a beach town, instead of being in town, they could be on the beach. If they're in a ski town, they could be on the ski slope. They could stay an extra night. They could bring in a chef or take the group out for a spa day or a private lesson or a deep sea fishing excursion or whatever it is. But ultimately, it's preventing, in my opinion, travelers from having as good of an experience and creating the best memories that they could, because so much of their money is going towards fees. And that's what we're, set out to aim to fix at Savvy.
And you're aiming to fix it with a new company that you started called Savvy. And when I say new company, this isn't an idea. You actually have a platform, which I'm going to show in a minute, and it's a no-fee platform. And I want you to explain that, because when I hear no fee, it sounds great. It sounds great for the consumer. But as a business, right? I mean, the disrupt market's got to be good for the business, got to be good for the customer, it's got to be cheaper, it's got to be faster, right? And then you disrupt markets. And
That's right.
when I hear that, okay, no fees, I'm like, okay, it benefits everyone except for you. Exactly. How does it benefit you? And, is this the reason why you came up with this idea? Because you saw the disconnect? Because I'm seeing the same thing. Exactly. Like that money could be used for an extra day or like an excursion or something. And it was to the point where we go away once a year, right? And if it's like $100, you might be like, it was significant. It was a significant charge. Where I was like, whoa, what the hell was that? It's something like 25% more than what we paid last year for a small house. So talk about Savvy, how you disrupt the market and how you plan to disrupt this market.
So I had a friend a few weeks ago that was like, hey, we're going to Port Aransas. Do you guys have any inventory there? And I was like, of course, look at all this. And I'm scrolling through the phone and he's like, well, let me look into it tonight with my wife. Texts me back the next day. He's like, we literally saved $1,100 using Savvy over Airbnb. And I'm like, that's real savings. That changes their trip. So the model, how do we do it? I wish I could say I'm this brilliant guy and I've come up with this amazingly new way to do things. The truth is we're taking it back to the OG models that when I launched bedandbreakfast.com in 1995, when David Klaus launched VRBO in 1995, the original HomeAway. We allow property managers, and we only have professionally managed properties on the site. That's one of the other things that we do to differentiate. You have peace of mind knowing that when you show up, it's going to be as it was advertised, right? If there's a problem, if the Bluetooth lock doesn't work and you're locked out, there's someone there. You're not renting from some bro that's surfing in Costa Rica and you can't get into your house. Your AC goes out, whatever it is. There's a professional. So professional property managers or property management companies can put all their properties on our site absolutely free. Very little cost to us to do that, right? If they want more exposure, they can pay a flat, low monthly cost and they can get a premium listing and just get more exposure for their site and drive more reservations. And it's that simple. So we don't have to charge the travelers. We don't have to charge all the property managers. We'll create a marketplace, and those that want to get some more exposure can go in and get more exposure. That's the site that you would see if you're coming in as a property manager on why you should, look at Savvy, take advantage of Savvy. And the way the model works is we are passing you through to the professional property manager. So when you book on Savvy, we're a book direct OTA. So we're going to take all of your information, just like if you're on Airbnb or Vrbo, we're going to securely pass that through the API to the property management software. And the property manager is going to book your reservation just like you were on their website, like you called them and spoke to them directly. So you're getting the best rate and you're not paying us a fee because guess what? We don't have credit card costs. We don't have fraud costs. We don't have to staff this massive care team because why would we replicate all that? Property managers already have that. So we're not building another layer and becoming an intermediary where we're taking the customer from the property manager. And we're able to pass that savings on to travelers.
So this is 150,000, right? Properties, 2,500 professional hosts. I see you already generate revenue from the site, right? So this isn't like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is happening now.
This is what we're doing. Now, I would say we're generating revenue. Yes. Like any marketplace, you've got to this isn't a service business. We're not selling mattresses and the first mattress we sell, we're making money. We're creating a marketplace. So we've got to build out supply. So we spent the last 2 years getting nearly 3,000 now property managers on the site, representing over 150,000 properties. That gave us enough inventory so we could go out to travelers and say, hey, we've got a solution for you. Come check us out. And when you find a property on our site, and maybe you show this in a bid or not, but when you find a property on our site and you give dates, you're going to see our price and you're going to see Airbnb's price and Vrbo's price for 90% of the listings right now on the site. So you see exactly how much you're saving or not. And if you're not saving, we're going to show you that as well, because savvy travelers will know what they're going to get, right? We got good inventory now. So back to, once you have the marketplace and you have the supply, now you can go out and let people know you exist and start driving demand. And it's not until you're driving demand to the supply that you start monetizing the marketplace. Last thing I want is for property managers to come in before we're really driving enough traffic and start paying me, because I want to be making sure that I'm providing value to them. We've got revenue It's small because now we're starting to work on the awareness. Thankfully, everyone's sick of fees. Thankfully, most people are savvy and like to save money. And thankfully, travel's sexy. It's something you talk about, right? When you get together with friends and family, you're like, hey, what'd you do over spring break? Or what are you doing this summer? Everyone inevitably is like, well, I'm going to get a vacation rental in Costa Rica, or I'm going to, do an Airbnb and whatever. That'll help awareness, get the marketplace going. And that's when the network effect will really take off.
How important is the technology behind this? Because, you could see as I'm using the site, it's very smooth. And, I know they have maps like this Airbnb that you could see, they could bring it out and stuff. How important was it to get the technology right? Because you seem like a tech guy that understands this part, which is so, so important, right? I mean, everybody wants that smooth experience. And when you get a clunky experience, it's not good. I just did it right now. It's very simple. So how much?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it difficult to get the platform up and running? And talk about that part.
The table stakes now, you've got to have a good UI UX. It's got to look very professional. It's got to be tight. And hats off to Airbnb. I mean, they've done that maybe better than anyone, right? They've built a really great site and app that's very clean and tight. And, we knew that was what we had to set out to replicate. And, we've got so many things in the pipeline that are coming to make the site even better than it is today. But I think your question is on point, and the answer is it's very important. As the new OTA on the block, we've got the newest tech stack in the industry, and that will allow us to iterate much more quickly with adding technology and features, and even, AI, for example, right? I mean, we've got to be prepared for that. We're using it internally right now, and we're looking at what type of integrations we do to leverage, AEO. But if you don't build the foundation right, then it's tough for you to scale. Not only provide a good UX, but it's tough to grow the business and to scale from tens of thousands of properties to hundreds of thousands to millions, et cetera. And we fully expect to be in the millions several years from now. You got to build it right so you can do that.
And this was cool. I click one of the properties on here. It says, book now. And then underneath it says Airbnb. It says, yikes, $114 more. VRBO was not found. This wasn't listed there. So what happens? Is there going to be a case where, say, Airbnb is less than you? And do you beat that price?
No, we don't beat the price. We just let the traveler know that they came to the place, saw the prices, go book it on Airbnb if they're less expensive. We're not always going to be the best price. We should be 99 to 100% of the time. But we're going to show you regardless. So it's not like we're going to show you when we're less expensive and we're not going to show you when we're more expensive. Savvy travelers want to know that they're making the best decision, and we want to support them in that. So we're going to show the price either way.
So you had 2 exits, which is amazing. But more importantly, it's how you exit, I think. You see some people exit and, now you're getting back into the industry, and it seems like people want to follow you. And the reason why I say that is because when I look at your advisors, and you mentioned David Klaus, he's the founder of VRBO, Carl Shepard, co-founder of HomeAway, Carl Sparks, president CEO of Travelocity, Brad Soroka, GMVP at TripAdvisor Plus. I mean, these are your advisors. These are people working with you. How did you build those relationships over time? And it seems like they really, for guys like this to really be your advisors, they have to really believe in this idea.
They all see it, and they know that's what the industry needs. It's one of those situations where I'm fortunate to have, when I was starting bedandbreakfast.com, Rich Barton was starting Expedia, Terry Jones was starting Travelocity, Hafner was starting Kayak. I mean, we were all there together. And so I sort of, maybe it's just because of affiliation or just because I'm the old guy in the room now, they call it wisdom or whatever, but they see the market and they see the same problems that I see. And they feel like we're in a really good place to provide a solution. And we've pulled a team together that's, people from Expedia, people from HomeAway, people from Vrbo, people from Turnkey, bedandbreakfast.com. We've got a good team. We've done it before. And it's one of those things where we don't have to educate the market, right? When I launched bedandbreakfast.com, when we launched Turnkey, when I first went to my first bed and breakfast show, innkeepers literally were like, what's the internet? Like, who the heck are you? And what is there? And we spent the first 5 years educating the market.
Yeah.
Right. It's nice to be here where everyone knows what Airbnb is. Everyone's sick of the fees. When I say everyone, 9 out of 10 people are sick of the fees. 10% of the people, they're going to use Airbnb because they're brand loyal. And that's awesome. If we get 10%, huge, right? We're not saying we're going to beat Airbnb. We're just saying for the savvy travelers out there, we're going to give them a better solution. So they don't have to go search and then right click and do a photo search, or go Google some property management name or a property name and try to find it where they can book it direct and save that money.
Yeah.
Did you think about it? Property managers want to build book direct business, right? They don't want you booking through an intermediary. They want to own that relationship with you, the guest. And so as a property manager, you can do all you can to drive direct business, but you can't really compete with an OTA, because as a traveler, I don't want to just see your properties in Austin, Texas. I want to see all the properties that are available in Austin, Texas, and then I'll choose which one I want, and maybe it's yours. So as an individual property manager, yes, I can invest in SEO and AEO, and I can do stuff on social, and I can have a good website with good UI and UX and a booking engine that's clean and all that stuff. But that works maybe for my word of mouth customers or my repeat customers. It's not really going to get me those customers that were going to Airbnb and Vrbo. To do that, we as an industry need something like Savvy, where the traveler can go to a single place, see a lot of the inventory, see the price comparisons, and then ultimately book direct and get that book direct price.
Do you worry about the competition here? Because what I like about this idea is when I see Airbnb, whatever the market cap is, 70 billion, 80 billion, whatever it is now. Now it's starting to get into experiences and outdoor adventures, cooking classes, museum tours, and more personalized experience and stuff like that. So they're finding ways to generate revenue, right? That's what they're trying to figure out, is how they continue this growth. But it seems like they can't lower their prices or come down and say, hey, we're not going to offer, we're not going to have fees anymore. I mean, so the level of competition, you're seeing others try to use this business model that you're using. And with that said, are there other ways for you to generate revenue off of your platform? Because it seems like, if you're charging no fees and you're charging it, based on, the people who are booking and if they want slots and stuff like that, what's the revenue model going forward? Is it just strictly, some of these people, getting the sign up to your site and, selling their properties and the hosts selling their properties? Or is there ways of advertising and things like that?
I think ultimately in any marketplace, there are numerous ways that you can monetize a marketplace, right? When you truly create a marketplace, you can monetize the supply side, you can monetize the demand side, you can monetize the people that support the industry and that your customers are their customers. I mean, think of this. We've got almost 3,000 property managers that are members, if you will, right now. I think the largest association in the industry, VRMA, has 1,000. We'll continue to grow rather quickly, and we're not competing with the association. We fully support the association and we attend their conferences and stuff, but we're in a position to help vendors reach property managers because we're one of the biggest aggregators of property managers. So there's other types of ad units you can create, right? Think of Google, and they've got their AdWords at the top. I mean, you can have a featured property spot. Go back to choose Austin. I'm in Austin, Texas. We've got, 650 properties currently in Austin, and that continues to grow. But let's say that you're a property manager and you're like, okay, well, I want to get more exposure for my homeowners in Austin. And, I can buy the premium, but out of the 650, 65 properties have bought premium. So I'm going to be higher than 90% of the properties, but I'm still one of 65. I want to be at the top.
Yep.
Well, we can have, one or two or three spots at the top that are truly featured property spots that are auction spots or something to give those players in the market the ability to position themselves like that. So yeah, it's like what we did at bedbreakfast.com. We had property of the month where you could be that. We had featured property. We had the listing levels. Ultimately, though, it's like, okay, to the degree that it makes sense for the marketplace, I would see us doing it. But if we can deliver, I say if, I know we can, when we deliver to the industry a fully built and working marketplace, the model that we have with premium listings is plenty. It's not like we're not going to be answering to, Wall Street necessarily. And if we end up going public down the road, then maybe we'll have to find ways to keep that revenue going. But I think there's so much opportunity there, right? You look at 5 years out, it's supposed to be 30 million vacation rentals, 20 million globally. If we get 20% of those 20 million, that's 4 million listings on our site for free, not paying us. 4 million. That's twice the size that Vrbo is today.
Wow.
And that's half the size that Airbnb is today. I think we can get there. No guarantees. I think we can get there. Out of those 4 million, if 1 in 10 decides that they want a premium listing, that's great revenue for us. We don't need half of them. We don't need a third of them. I mean, we'd be fine with 3 or 4 or 5%, but I think 10% is very realistic and probably low.
I think when you're looking at a first-time entrepreneur that's starting a company, their ambitions are so high and they want to capture the whole entire market. And just to segment it the way you are, it's goals that are achievable and you're still going to be wildly successful. I see that mistake made, and I've made that mistake in the past too for starting the company. But what is the goal? Is it to IPO? Is it are you positioning the company to be bought by somebody else? I mean, you had 2 exits, or do you really want to disrupt the market? Does it matter? Because I know you have private investors and you invested a lot of money to start this yourself. Yeah, what is the goal for you?
I've never started a business, maybe I would get where I was trying to get quicker, but with a goal of how I was going to exit. My goal was always to build the best business on a standalone basis. And then we would exit whatever ended up making the most sense to exit. Maybe if I was more intentional, we could have gotten a higher premium on EBITDA or on revenue, or we could have focused our energy on meeting what that potential buyer or marketplace was going to want. I've just said, let's build the best business we can and we'll figure out how we monetize it. I mean, with Savvy, throw my hat on here.
There you go.
With Savvy, the business is large enough that could IPO. I mean, if we hit what we're thinking we can do, we could IPO. We could sell to a strategic investor. It could be private equity, I think would make more sense, because what we're building is a marketplace. It doesn't have to just be vacation rentals. I mean, that's a marketplace, but our tech stack and our infrastructure can support a marketplace in any market.
If you're an entrepreneur, could you tell me some of the advice that you would, if someone has been successful, maybe the do's and the don'ts, or, some of the things that they need to focus on or not focus on? Because everyone has a dream of starting their own business. I tell people when they ask me, when I started my own business, you don't realize that what you're really good at doing could only account for 30%, 35%. You don't know about, HR, about accounting. You got to know about all these things, especially as you grow and you get more and more employees and stuff. But is there any advice you can give? Because we do have a lot of entrepreneurs, we do have a lot of people and business owners that, have their own businesses that listen to this podcast.
There's a few things. To be an entrepreneur, you've got to be an optimist, right? You think of, Brian Chesky at Airbnb, you think of Jeff Bezos at Amazon. I mean, those guys were both turned down for funding over 100 times before someone actually believed in what they were doing to invest. So I think you've got to be optimistic. You've got to see the vision and go for it. Like, get it started and push it forward relentlessly. Like, sometimes you've got to will it to get the next step of the business evolve. Have self-awareness to the degree that you do understand your strengths. Get the absolute best people that you can afford and the seats around the table and on the bus with you. Certainly there's been the secret to my success. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I get the people that are to be on the team. And I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at and what I need to just sort of stay out of. You got to be a salesperson, right? You're selling people to invest. You're selling people to join your team. You're selling customers. So I'm not sure there's any one thing. And I don't know if you learn it or you're sort of, I was doing this stuff when I was in first grade. I mean, I would pick up shells on the beach and then go door to door and sell them. I don't know what it was, but I had this desire to be this entrepreneur guy. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any right path. It's sort of like when your kids go to college, they're going to be successful probably at whatever college they end up at. So there's a lot of different ways to success, and there's 1,000 books you can read and things you can listen to, but persevere, get out there and just focus, and get the best team you can, because it's hard. I sort of laugh when I say that, but there's no sugarcoating it. It's not easy.
Nah, it's great stuff. Well, Eric, listen, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck with Savvy. It's, I follow trends all my life. It's what I do. I love it. I love seeing which is successful, which are not. I described the formula earlier, which I think, if you could just make it cheaper, faster, better for both parties, make it easier. And you check off all the boxes with this. It made so much sense that I want to learn more about it. I wanted to interview you, and hopefully it helps a lot of people, inspires a lot of people, and I'm sure it will, because you could see your positive attitude. You could see how excited you are about this. You could see how some of the great people in the industry are following you behind this. You could see how much you're investing your own money behind this. So I think it is going to be very successful, and it's exciting. And I know a lot of people sign up probably after they see this interview. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming
Love
on.
it.
Thanks for the time, and I really appreciate
Of
it.
course. I hope some people get some momentum.